Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427's to start pledging today. And don't forget to also check out and consider gifting me any items I have listed on my Amazon wishlist and even supporting me on my Streamlabs tipping page that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and well, I guess it has been a long time coming since after, pretty much, I've done my, KnuckleCon, videos, for sure, to which, to any of you who have actually tuned into those, thank you so much, for, all the, yeah, pretty much, thank you so much for tuning into all of those. They were really fun to work on, and I'm really glad that I got to go to that convention for sure, and yeah, can't wait to come back for next year. But it looks like I'm back here right now, ready to give you guys my next thoughts video for sure, so yeah. And of course, pretty much as expected from my last review that I did talking about Free Rent Beyond Journey's End, yeah, I've actually teased this for some time, and I'm gonna deliver, of course, that front for sure, so yeah. And I guess as my way to get myself caught up on, of course, some of the new releases that we're actually getting right now, looks like for the first of two thoughts videos for sure. And yes, looks like I am saying it right now because I'm in for another double feature this time around that I just did not too long ago. And of course, we're actually going to be talking about not one, but two movies that I actually got to see very recently for sure. So yeah. I think you can pretty much know the drill, of course, that front, and luckily enough with the first one that I actually got to see today for sure, I think it will do exactly that, so yeah. And well, I guess for the first time in, quite frankly, in about 3 years for sure, I'm actually quite curious to see on, pretty much on what toy company Mattel has to offer for their next movie. Yeah, I'm not even joking when I say it, so yeah, I guess it has been about a few years since after the Barbie movie came out for sure, and that was actually a really big hit, hands down for sure, so yeah, I guess it's after how well that movie did, and trust me when I say I guess it is very well deserving of it. I mean, it's coming from me saying that I do like it for sure, but it's not by all means great, hands down, but yeah, like I said, I do think Barbie is a good movie, hands down, in case a lot of you guys are wondering, so yeah. So I guess it's after how well that movie did, I'm quite curious to see on what Mattel has to offer with, of course, the next batch of movies that they're going to be releasing, hands down, after their massive start that they actually did a few years ago for sure. So I think it is quite fitting, surprising enough, to see what they have to offer for their next movie that they're actually going to do, since after how well Barbie actually did. And, well, surprisingly enough, for, of course, this movie we're going to be talking about here today as part of my double feature that I actually did, well, I guess might be a little something that might be out of the ordinary for sure. Looks like for the next movie I'm actually pretty much that Mattel is actually giving to us for sure. I think it seems like pretty much the next movie we got from them might contain a bit of power from a certain place called Castle Grayskull. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can put it. Yeah, the movie we're going to be talking about here today actually has the power given to us from Castle Grayskull. And given to that hint alone, I think it will get you the idea, of course, what I'm talking about here today. So yeah. So I guess, quite frankly enough, I think it's time to see what Mattel has to offer for their second movie that they're actually going to be putting out for sure. So I think it's time that we get ourselves into Castle Grayskull and see if we actually do have the power for sure, with, of course, the latest movie that I finally got around to officially see not too long ago, which is none other than Masters of the Universe. So yeah, that is, of course, what we're going to be talking about here today. It is, of course, the latest film that just came out not too long ago, or I guess in this case, the past weekend, which came out around the same time I was away at NocoCon for sure. But it's also based around another one of Mattel's toy brands that they actually pretty much have for several years now, which surprisingly enough also pretty much is entitled Masters of the Universe, but it also goes by pretty much the well-known name for that said toy brand, that being, of course, He-Man. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alrighty then, well, now that we actually got the introduction out of the way, before we can go ahead and talk about this latest movie, I think it's actually quite fitting to ask the question, am I familiar with He-Man? Have I actually grew up with it back in the old days? Well, I guess the answer might shock you to say the least, and that being, of course, I never really actually grew up with He-Man in the slightest. Yeah, I'm not joking when I actually say hands down. Yeah, I guess probably during my time, pretty much from what I can gather, I never actually grew up with He-Man, to be honest. And I'm not saying that because it's not really my thing in the slightest. Oh, no. The reason why I actually say it is because, well, I didn't know it actually existed back in the day. Yeah, that's literally my main reason why, hands down. I had no idea He-Man actually existed back then for sure, and I was very unfamiliar with, of course, all that hands down. I never really knew about the toys back in the day. I never actually saw the cartoon hands down for sure. All that sort of stuff revolving around He-Man for sure. So yeah, and I know the reason why, being that it was such a big hit back in the 80s, hands down, and well, obviously enough, I actually was around since the mid-90s for sure. So yeah, I guess it is quite fitting to say that I wasn't even alive when He-Man was actually a thing back in the day for sure. But I think the only instance where, of course, I knew about He-Man in the slightest was probably back in, like, the early 2010s, to say the least, for sure. And I was thinking, wait a minute, is that really a thing? Tell me that's a thing. So yeah, despite the fact that I never actually pretty much knew about He-Man for sure, I actually didn't know about him up until the early 2010s for sure. So yeah, I guess you can kind of see that I'm a little out of place with, of course, my He-Man knowledge for sure. So I think you can clearly see why, hands down. But upon my research, I do find it to be quite an interesting pretty much idea that they have for sure, and yeah, I think with, of course, what I'm seeing, I do like the idea of He-Man, but my god, with the way pretty much his name is actually said, let alone the way he actually looks, actually makes him a pretty gay superhero from back in the day. Now I'm actually found it quite funny seeing of how the way I actually say it. I literally just sang it during the month of June, which is also Pride Month. Yeah, saying that He-Man is the gayest superhero pretty much of all time. Around the time I sang for Pride Month for all of you LGBTQ plus people out there, to which, by the way, big support to all of you guys. You have my love all the way, so yeah, does kind of make it pretty funny. But yeah, anyways, back on topic, hands down, for sure. I guess given to that knowledge alone, I was a little out of place with, of course, He-Man and the slightest. But given to that thought alone, when I heard the news about this recent movie that's been in the works for a long time now, for sure, especially seeing of how it's serving as a reboot since after the 1987 version from back in the day, to which I heard it was actually terrible, so I'm not even gonna bother, so yeah, I was a little conflicted at first, but somehow quite curious to see how it's gonna go, hands down, for sure, so yeah. But hey, if I want to get my, pretty much get myself up to speed on, of course, He-Man, I definitely need to get myself into this movie regardless to see if it'll actually win me over and check out the franchise, or might turn me off in the slightest and kind of avoid it all the way, so yeah, so of course, as part of my double feature that I actually did, hands down, I did manage to take the time and pretty much to get myself caught up by officially go and see this movie for myself, all thanks to the kind people at Crown City Cinemas as always, so yeah. Well, now that I've officially got back from, of course, seeing it, I guess a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this movie now that I finally got the chance to see it? Well, I think for what it is, I'm kind of half and half, of course, this one for sure, so yeah, I guess pretty much for what it is, I do think this is actually a pretty decent movie from what I can gather for sure, that I will admit, probably didn't get me hooked on all the way, but some of the stuff that they actually is actually really quite nice for sure, so yeah, I can't by necessarily say it's a great movie, but I don't think it's terrible either. I do think it is a decent flick for what it is that, well, surprisingly enough, I do know hardcore fans of He-Man will definitely like a whole lot more. But as pretty much as an average moviegoer, I think it's fine for what it is. Just rather harmless, of course, my part. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well, now that I've officially got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about. For starters is, of course, the story, and, well, I think from what I'm seeing, the story in this movie is structured out quite fine for sure. In fact, given to some parts that I really do think actually has a lot of potential to really make it all the more good. Well, other times, other parts of course, this movie does kind of derailing in such a way that really doesn't grab me a whole lot for sure, and really actually left me a little confusing, conflicting at the same time for sure, so yeah, but I do like, of course, what it was trying to go for, hands down, in trying to be more faithful to the He-Man franchise for sure, and yeah, that's one thing I can give the movie credit for, hands down for sure. If it wants to try to pretty much be like He-Man, it should feel like He-Man in the slightest. And yeah, with what I'm seeing story-wise, it does actually have that approach, hands down, but could have used a little fine-tuning, to say the least, to not only be strong and faithful to He-Man, but also work well as a full-on movie as well, for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I could say for the story for, of course, this movie. It does have a lot of potential in some areas, but other parts I just kind of felt were a little disjointed and really didn't grab me all the way for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say for the story for, of course, this movie. Now, as for the writing, as of course another example, again, I think there are a few parts in it that I do think are actually crafted pretty well. But at the same time, other parts again just really didn't grab me all the way, and kind of use a little rewrite here and there to really give off that amount of hard-working effort to really try to make it all the more great for sure, and yeah, I think it's probably what I could say on that front for sure. So, much like the story, the writing has some really strong points that it actually did provide for sure. But other times, it really does provide a lot of weaker material that could have been pretty much a whole lot better than what I was expecting, hands down. So yeah. And of course, the comedy, as another good example, well, I guess there are some parts again where I did chuckle a bit, but other times I just kind of felt probably was a little grown. Yeah, I was pretty much, I think I was a little shrugging off, feeling a little confused, like, am I supposed to laugh at this? I don't know what's going on, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. So I guess given to the story, the writing, and the comedy, yeah, again, it does have some good ideas and stuff, and I will give it credit that it is actually pretty much wanting to be more faithful to a He-Man for sure. In fact, far better than the 1987 version of He-Man for sure. But at the same time, I just kind of felt they could have done a whole lot more to really try to make it all the more gripping, hands down, for sure, to actually be a full-on movie, hands down. So yeah, I think that's probably what I could say. Of course, all of those, hands down, if you actually catch my drift. So yeah. Alright, so now that I got those out of the way, I think I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things that I need to talk about for sure. To which next up is, of course, the characters, and well, I think from what I've actually seen, the characters in, of course, this movie, they were giving a fine development to actually work with, hands down, to try their best to make them likable and interesting, and for while I do follow some of them, quite well for sure. Other times it just kind of felt the characters could have been given more and more development so that way I can actually care for them a whole lot more, hands down. So yeah, sometimes they would actually do it well, but other times they just kind of feel a little watered down than what I was hoping for, hands down, but yeah, maybe I think it's just me from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, I don't hate the characters for who they are, hands down. I just kind of wish they were giving a much better development to make them likable and interesting for sure. To which some of them actually do, hands down, while for others, yeah, maybe I think some more development would have been a whole lot better for sure. So yeah. Now, as for the actors that came on board to play all these characters, I will admit some of them actually gave off some pretty decent performances all the way. I mean, not fully enough to actually be great, but I do think they gave off fine performances nonetheless. But I will say, if there are a couple of standouts, and of course, this movie is that I do think both pretty much Kristen Wiig and Idris Elba really gave off such good performances all the way. I really do think they really gave their all to give off such good performances despite the material that's actually given to them, hands down, for sure. And I really do love what they actually did, hands down. So yeah, I guess to me, both Kristen Wiig and Idris Elba, I really do think are the massive standouts in, of course, this movie, at least in my opinion. But I will say right now, I think for one actor, hands down, well, I will say Jared Leto as Skeletor, I will have to say, I'm just not buying his performance all the way, and yeah, I think I know it's ironic because if you have seen my past thoughts videos, I never liked Jared Leto in most of the movies that he signed on board for, and suffices to say, yeah, this is another one of his weaker performances all the way. I really don't, yeah, I think it's almost like he's actually trying to outdo his portrayal of the Joker in Suicide Squad for sure, but has no idea how to do it, and just wanted to implement that into a Skeletor, to which I know hands down, yeah, I mean, I may not be familiar with He-Man for sure, but I know Skeletor would not have that kind of performance that Jared Leto gave, hands down, and I know that's saying a whole lot because yeah, I guess pretty much based on a few clips and of course some research I did on Skeletor, the main villain in He-Man. Yeah. Would you really, yeah, I think I was more expecting to be on the similar lines of course, how he was in the cartoon. He almost sounded like a, pretty much a high-pitched Inspector Gadget for sure, so yeah, that's at least what I was kind of hoping for, hands down, and yeah, if they would have actually done that and gotten a much better actor to actually do that voice that I actually mentioned, I think that would have saved the flick in the slightest, so yeah, but you kind of get what I mean, hands down, so, but yeah, either way, I guess pretty much of anything, yeah, much like all of his other roles, I really don't think Jared Leto really portrayed Skeletor quite well, hands down. He really actually kind of crumbles parts of this movie all the way, pretty much whenever his voice actually shows up, for sure, and yeah, I do kind of felt he was actually miscast to play a Skeletor for sure. Yeah, it's almost like I think he pretty much wants to pretty much try to see on what he would be like as Skeletor, not try to be like the Skeletor from He-Man for sure, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front, so yeah, I guess it's what I could say for the characters and the actors in a nutshell, hands down, and given to what I actually thought of those, hands down, I think I will get you the idea, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alrighty. Alrighty then, well, now that we actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about? Well, quite a whole lot, actually. I guess pretty much for another aspect I should talk about next is that, well, the action, I will have to say. Yeah, if there's one redeeming quality in regards to this movie is that I do think the action in this movie is absolutely amazing all the way for sure. I really do think they really nailed it out of the ballpark with, of course, the action for sure. And I was really invested with, of course, all of it hands down with every single fight scene that actually occurred hands down. It really is actually quite amazing, and you really are in the midst of course, the action for sure. Pretty much the mix of pretty much stunt work and choreography that they actually did is actually really quite amazing, hands down. And I really do think they nailed it out of the ballpark with it, hands down. So yeah, that's at least what I can say for the action for sure. Now, as for the production design, I will have to say that too long is also done marvelously, hands down for sure, with not only some really great location scouting and of course some fantastic set designs that they actually did, hands down for sure, which I will say those two really are actually quite amazing, and I really do applaud this movie all the way for, of course, exactly that for sure. But also, the visuals and the effects, I will have to say, really is actually quite nice, hands down, and does help to blend in well with the film's surroundings, hands down for sure. And well, despite the green screen and the, yeah, pretty much the green screen work could have been a little tweaked a whole lot more, hands down for sure, as it almost kind of looks like the kind of green screen work that they did back in the 90s as opposed to the 2020s for sure. But I will say the CGI pretty much on top of the visuals and the effects are actually done quite nicely, hands down for sure. So yeah, So yeah, those are of course the few things. Despite my one massive issue, I can say of course on that front, and not to mention for the fact that pretty much the world building, I will have to say, is also quite nice, hands down for sure. Almost like you really are in the world of Eternia, where He-Man actually resides, hands down. So yeah, I guess that's probably what I could say, of course, on that front for sure. So yeah, and of course, the direction in this film, to which I should mention, is of course, this film is of course directed by Travis Knight, hands down for sure. So yeah, and I will have to say, I do have mad respects for him as a director for sure. He's actually done some really great work, hands out, especially in his animation studio, like for sure. So yeah, and I guess in regards to the direction in this movie, well, I think I will have to say, I think it's not bad from what I can gather, but I do admire the pretty much the hard work he's trying to do, of course, this one hands down. So yeah, but not fully enough, like, of course, pretty much, like, say, his last film, Bumblebee, that he actually pretty much did, hands down. Nor even, of course, pretty much when he made his directorial debut with Kubo and the Two Strings, but I do applaud him for, of course, the effort he's trying to give to really make this movie work for sure. So yeah. And of course, the cinematography in this film is actually done pretty good, with some really good camera shots that I do think is actually quite nice, hands down for sure. And I really do think it is actually really quite nice that pretty much the way this movie is shot, hands down. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. And of course, the editing, I have to say, well, I think it is caught up fine for sure, with some cuts that I do think are actually quite good, but others I just kind of felt could have been trimmed a whole lot more, hands down. And yeah, even the film's pacing, I will have to say, just really kind of mellows down to, of course, what it was trying to go for, hands down. Like, it's not bad per se, but I think the film's pacing could have been flowed down a whole lot more to really try to pretty much make it all the more gripping, hands down. So yeah, so I guess I give it to all of the hands down. I think that will get the idea on, of course, what I thought of this movie as a whole. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so yeah, I think with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, overall, for while I can't necessarily say that it is actually enough to have the power for sure, Masters of the Universe, I will say, is a decent enough flick for sure that does have some parts in it that really kind of felt were unnecessary and really didn't drive me all the way. But other parts I will have to say does work quite well to the film's advantage for sure, and really want to try its best to give us a pretty much a good time and a much more faithful version of He-Man that we were kind of hoping for, hands down. So yeah, but that's at least what I could say, of course, on that front for sure. And yeah, I think I will say pretty much a good chunk of this movie could have worked a whole lot better from what I can gather. And yeah, I do kind of wish they could have done a whole lot to really try to make it a much more gripping movie, hands down, for sure. But at the same time, some parts in it really actually does capture the feel, pretty much the look and the feel of He-Man all the way, for sure. And yeah, and I guess for what it is, I think it did the job fine, for sure. Not fully enough to really get me engaged all the way, but I think he did the job all right from what I've actually seen. And yeah, it's not necessarily perfect for what it is, but I still do applaud it for not being terrible either, for sure. So So yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can actually describe this movie as a whole for sure. So yeah, say what you will about other toy brands back pretty much back in the 80s for sure, like say Transformers, My Little Pony, G.I. Joe, and many others were, of course, they started out pretty well back in the 80s and are still going strong even today. I guess He-Man was kind of left in the dust from what I've actually seen and really doesn't actually have anything to offer to pretty much captivate a new audience for a new generation for sure. And I know this movie was trying to go for exactly that, hands down, but hardly by much for sure. So yeah, I guess that's probably the best way I can actually describe this movie as a whole. I can't necessarily say this movie is great for what it is, but I don't think it's terrible either for sure. I think I'm kind of split down the middle, of course, this one for sure, to which I think is probably the best way I can actually put it hands down. But I guess if this movie is something that you might be looking into hands down, then I say this is definitely well worth checking out. You're probably not going to get much all the way, but I do think you are going to get something that really actually does want to try its best to have the look and feel of He-Man for sure, to which, yeah, the end result actually came out passable. Not good, not bad, just passable to say the least. And that's okay in my book, hands down. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, for my final score, yeah, I think this movie might be deserving of that, so I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 as my final score. Like I said, I don't hate this movie for what it is, but I can't necessarily say it's by all means great for sure, let alone it would be something that I would actually pretty much check out, pretty much let alone get myself into He-Man in the slightest for sure. I do think this movie is fine for what it is, hands down for sure, and yeah, and for while you wouldn't necessarily get me hooked on to check out He-Man, but only time will tell for sure. I do think this is pretty much the kind of movie that I do know die-hard fans of He-Man would probably get into a whole lot more for sure, and if that's something up your alley, I say definitely check this one out for sure. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can actually put it. If you're looking for a full-on He-Man movie that really actually yeah, that may be lacking in some parts in it, but can deliver and of course such a good time, hands down, then I say give this movie a watch. It's worth a couple hours of your time. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, I guess I'm done with that. Alright, so yeah, I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, I want to turn it over to you guys. What do you think of the new Masters of the Universe movie if you've seen it for yourself? Do you absolutely really enjoy it and think it really captured the look and the feel of He-Man for sure, or do you absolutely hate it and think it's an absolute waste of time for sure? Or are you like me and you're somewhere in between, of course, this one where you think it's just fine for what it is. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie down in the comments down below. I'm quite curious to see what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, pretty much of course that front. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, we're not done just yet. Oh, no. I guess seeing how I did do a double feature this time around, I've got one other movie to actually talk about for sure. And what better way to do that is that, well, I think we might as well turn on over to talk about the next movie that's done by one of my favorite directors of all time that goes by the name of Steven Spielberg. Yeah, I think that will get you the idea on what I'll be talking about next. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. So yeah, but I guess until then, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next Thoughts video. Take care. Oh, hey. No copyright claim strike from Mattel. Well, I almost kind of fear that it will pretty much happen. Of course, this one, like what happened in the Barbie review that I did a few years ago. Must be pretty lucky, I guess. So there's that. So yeah, I think I might as well end it here right now. So yeah. Time to see what Spielberg will have to offer, hands down. So yeah, I think I'll cut it right here. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD and Sam Shepard. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/AckleyattackTV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyattackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.